Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so what are we talking about? Talking about the Chicago Bulls and the LA Lakers. Now, the Lakers have a back-to-back with the Bulls. This is the second of that back-to-back. Played them about 3 days ago. The game did not go well for the Lakers. Well, the Lakers find themselves in ninth place last I checked, even though the things are ever fluctuating. So by the time you've seen this video, things could change twice by then. But teams are all bunched together, about maybe 6 of them or 7 of them bunched together between the 5th spot and the 12th spot, I think, or 11th spot. That's where we're at. I think the last 2 teams, Portland and Utah, pretty much are bowing out. Portland for certain, Utah is very close to bowing out. So it's Dallas, OKC, the Clippers, Warriors, Pelicans, Timberwolves, and Suns. There's another team in there too that I'm not thinking about, but those are the teams that we're battling with, trying to put ourselves in a position to get these playoffs. With Dallas, I believe, a half game behind us. The Pelicans blowing a game against the Warriors yesterday after having a huge lead. It's just a lot of stuff going on in the Western Conference. And we needed that Pelicans loss to a degree, even though we could also use the Warriors losing as well. But anytime the Pelicans, the Timberwolves, Dallas, those are the teams that we really need to lose right now. Just looking directly at them, Thunder, those teams must lose. So those are the teams I'm paying most attention to, and hopefully anytime they're up for a victory, they do not get it for the betterment of our circumstance. In the meantime, we got to take care of our own business as well. Having dropped the game against the Bulls, where they just basically used us like cones. They were running around us, darting through us. We just did not respect Zach LaVine's athleticism whatsoever and allow for them to really have a good time. Just darting around the little obstacle course that we created for them to score on. And so that's kind of what it is for me. I was just totally frustrated about that. I think most Laker fans were frustrated about what they saw. Anthony Davis didn't get but 8 attempts in the game because obviously foul trouble can hurt you, and that's what happened there. But even still, even if he's only getting a limited minutes, we want him to be more part of what we do offensively. We talked a lot about the roster and how we would like to see some changes. Of course, we want to applaud Coach for working Lonnie Walker back into the equation, but unfortunately he hasn't found a way to use others. It's just always one guy who doesn't deserve to sitting on this offense, on this team, and the results that we have don't make that acceptable. We need more of what he isn't using, and we've talked a lot about it. I think this is a series, and when I say series, because of 2 games, but this is a double dose of Chicago, and you're going to need length, you're going to need athleticism, you're going to need athletes. And I just think that we've got away from what we needed to kind of give ourselves a little more LeBron James and what we think works for what he needs on the floor. And I just felt like that was totally misguided, totally backwards, and never ever really how you want to approach a basketball game. Copy and paste. Let's just run this offense no matter what, and let's just see what happens at the end of the year. Simulation mode style is what I call it. And honestly, I'm not seeing anything that make any sense. We need to make in-game adjustments and ultimately match up size-wise, and I just think that that's something that we continue to talk about but don't necessarily see respected out there. So this was yet another example of that. Another part of that is the Lakers not getting that backup center that we've been talking about. This is yet another game where we're going to need a center in a must-win situation, fighting for our playoff lives, having lost to the same team just 3 days ago because they did not have anyone that could guard Drummond. Drummond was out there with a plus 20, basically. Having Vucevic gotten thrown out the game halfway through it, we only had one center to deal with, and so we didn't get him in foul trouble. We walked out of there with 3 fouls only. And he was the only center out there who's killing us on the offensive glass, getting easy buckets, and just pushing our guys around. And that's ultimately a big part of why we lost that game as well. So I thought that our afternoon strategy, it was around 12:30. The game started on a Sunday. We don't like those games. We know that teams don't show up for those games a lot of times. And so that's what it was. I don't think our team had a strategy that was even halfway smart out there. And as a result, we got our butts whooped really bad. And so the score didn't reflect us having a bad loss. The 4th quarter, we really were able to kind of make a run, give ourselves a little life, make the score respectable. But at the end of the day, anybody who watched that game knows that game was a blowout. And a lot of the stats there were skewed by the fact that the guys were just on the floor for the fourth quarter, finally hitting shots. Malik Beasley, I think, ended with like 4 for 12, but he spent the majority of the game like 2 for 10 or something. It was awful. He was guard awful on both sides of the floor, and the only time he really plays well is when shots are falling, and that's not something we are acceptable in regards to giving him 30, 40 minutes. It's not acceptable when that's all you're getting from him. Now, if you don't have anything else, anyone else or whatever, if your roster is different, of course, you got to lean on what you got. But when you have so many shooting guards, the last thing you do is lean in on the one that's most inefficient if you're trying to succeed. So these are the type of things that we're looking at, and we just don't really have a lot of patience for, not only because they're just mistakes that we don't like to see, but also because of the urgency at hand and us trying to make the playoffs. It's been a very long season. It's been a long couple of seasons, and ultimately we just want to see ourselves have something to be proud of at the end of this. So Darvin Ham and his rotations seem to be a direct deterrent to that, if you're asking me. And I am just hopeful that we can see more of what we saw against OKC, which were rotations that we like. Players on the floor that made sense for what it is we were looking at, and ultimately the results that give us what we're aiming for. So the frustration is overwhelming, I think, even though we've won 3 games straight before that Chicago loss. At the end of the day, it's not about those type of measures these days. It's about making sure that you don't drop games to keep yourself in this playoff hunt and try to get out of this play-in tournament. I just don't think the Lakers have taken that as seriously as they need to. We lost games that we shouldn't have lost to Memphis, New York, Timberwolves. These type of games are unacceptable. Charlotte earlier in the season, Boston in games, Philly in games that we thought we should have won. And then looking earlier in the season, it wasn't our fault necessarily. The schedule makers hit us hard. But some of the games that we really are looking at and saying, wow, we need these wins, like the Clippers, some of these other games that we probably would have liked to seen those teams and been successful in order to help ourselves here. We already saw them teams and lost to those teams early on when we didn't know who we are and we didn't have our roster in order. So we're just playing from behind the 8 ball. Some of the tiebreaker situations don't really work in our favor if it happens to come to that. So winning is very much paramount. And when I look at these games, a lot of these games are just strategic, faux pas. The team could strategize better and give themselves a chance to not only win, but possibly get an easy win. But instead, we played at our own detriment, leaning to stuff that really doesn't play to the best of our percentages. And then from there, get the results that come with that. And it's just like we can't afford to be doing stuff like this, choosing things that just don't look like they could work and then proceed to watch them fail. It's just epitome of what we've been watching all year. And we want Darvin Ham to get better at the timeouts and all those other things. But if he can't get our rotations in order, he could have his challenges in order. He could call his timeouts properly. He could do a lot of different things. But if he's going to play with people's foul trouble and other aspects of the game, he's just going to work against himself. And that's going to be how it goes. So, it's a lot of stuff that has contributed to the Lakers not playing well. Anthony Davis not being out there. Bron not being out there. It's a lot of stuff, team being a little too small, needing to make trades and having the market be locked up earlier in the season. There's been a lot of stuff that ultimately contributed to why we're not where we want to be record-wise, and why we have to fight so hard to win, why the urgency to win each and every one of these games is paramount. It's because we've already done the losing and we can afford to lose, So when we go into this game in Chicago last time, wanted to start LeBron James after being out for 3 weeks. He's not where he needs to be, both conditioning-wise and rusty-wise. He's just not there. Taking bad shots, not playing defense. It's not what we need right now when you're trying to win. But if you want to win a certain way, then you're going to lean on that certain thing, and you're going to hope to God you win because of that. And my thing is, look, that is not a winner's mentality. That's not a winner's strategy. That's not going to help you. What you need to do is step away from that for the betterment of yourself. Look at what you see on the floor in real time and adjust to that as it happens, and tell everybody that the name on the front of the jersey is exactly what we need to focus on in order to win these games. If you're not going to be a part of a good lineup that helps defend and turn that defense into offense, then for the betterment of this particular style of roster, you probably are best to be sitting down a good portion of the time, because this team needs stops. This team leans on Anthony Davis's defense to turn itself into offense, and then from there we can drive and shoot with the players that we have. But if we're trying to lean on stuff that doesn't work, and when we try to go back down there and play defense, this team is just not going to be that. They're not going to be able to. Why? Because the defenders are likely going to be sitting down with the rotations that make the most sense for the cachet names that are on this team. And that's what I'm saying. I don't need the most expensive players on the floor the majority of the time, because they don't make the best combination of what it is that we're trying to defend. And we know that. We're trying to restructure most of these contracts. So playing a guy like Malik Beasley because he's making $16 million at 30 minutes a clip and just living and dying with his shooting ability as he goes 1 for 6 is something that ultimately hurts the Lakers. It hurts the Lakers. And so while they continue to do things like this and move this way, they continue to fall into traps that the game is going to provide you when you don't adjust, when you don't respect certain things, when you don't match up properly. Rob Pelinka put together a roster that should be able to attack the rest of the field. It was put together with the rest of the teams in the league in mind. And so when it's not used properly, it can't do what it was functioned and designed to do, which is why Darvin Ham not using this roster in the way that I think makes sense, or getting more of an imagination in regards to the length and the height and the youth and the athleticism on this team is just, it's a crime, man. It's an absolute crime when you consider how this team was put together and how long they had to put together and what it's supposed to do to the field. It's like, God, you're not even turning on the damn engine, bro. So that's my thing with Darvin Ham. I'm just irritated. I don't want to be over disrespectful or whatever, but I mean, he's only had about 2 good games as a coach for us, man. It's been about 2 of them. And you know, it's an 82-game schedule, and I'm not exaggerating at all. I'm not even exaggerating at all, God. It's really, really ridiculous. If you heard my last Chicago Laker video at the end of that game, you saw how exhausted I was with some of the decisions we're making. But to just do stuff that we know dang well it's not going to be successful, and then proceed to watch elite talent do what it does. It's like some stuff is not hard. If you want to lose, do some of this stuff that we're doing and you'll be fine. So that's what I want to see us not do. I want to win, man. I want to beat the Chicago Bulls. I want to get my lick back. Patrick Beverley did the small, sign on LeBron James, put his hands all on the ground after laying the ball over LeBron James. Embarrassing. And LeBron proceeds to shoot an early second shot clock 3-pointer shot. It didn't get rebounded by anybody on our uniform. I'm just like, man, these people want to lose, or they too caught up in their emotions about whatever it is they thinking, that they don't know how to get out of their own way to succeed. Whatever the case may be, we want to win, and we want all that to fall into place. So that's it, man. We had a team that was kicking butt before Brian got back. I don't care what nobody said. The team was good. We were good. Even when we weren't being utilized properly, we were pretty good, and we were beating teams. Now we put Bron on the team. Yeah, Bron makes us better because he's Bron, but not on the defensive end. And that's where we need our help. Front court defensive help is what this roster needs. That's the problem. We don't need a non-defensive power forward in the roster. I'm just going to tell you the God's honest truth. We don't need that. What we need is more front court help for Anthony Davis, not less. And so this has been my problem with LeBron James next to Anthony Davis for a little while now. He's not a good enough defender for us to be living with offensive mistakes from everybody, including him. It just don't make for a very good team, man. It don't. We need length. Anthony Davis, William Gabriel, Vanderbilt, Mo Bamba. Those are the guys that need to be playing the 4 and the 5 at all times for this roster. All times. And if it's not being done that way, then you're not getting the most out of it. You're sitting people like Rui, you're sitting people like Winion when you need them on the floor because you want to go with Bron, who's not going to defend. It's just like, look, and then you want to slap Malik Beasley and Lonnie Walker together and stuff like that. That's not going to help you. You want to put players like Schroeder on the floor. They can't defend when they front court ain't, right? These are the things that trickle down to your other players not playing well, and then you misevaluating them. It's like, yo, Lakers, honestly, I'm tired of this amateurism. I'm tired of it. I've been watching this game my whole life. This is amateurism. We're doing stuff the wrong way with the right pieces, and I'm tired of it. So, hey, whatever caters to that. If it's LeBron James and his politics and it has to lean on me because it's just $1 billion attached to my name, so if we don't win, that's cool because it has to be on me. That's loser stuff, man. We ain't gonna win that way. You might as well just go ahead and sit down. You're like, seriously. If that's the mentality and if it has to be leaning on that, save your energy, bro. Do not go out there halfway get hurt trying to execute this. Not this. That's a fail. I'm telling you right now, some stuff ain't worth doing. If that's what we're doing, you are risking your health unnecessarily. So is everybody else on the team. So in my opinion, let's do things that actually work so we don't be sitting up here doing stuff for no dang reason, wasting precious times of our lives, athletes. We don't want to waste life. You got athlete energy, youthful energy. You're going to be 50, 60 years old one day. Let's not waste no possessions. And that's what I want to explain to people. This youth don't stick around. Stop throwing possessions away. Don't just do it for the integrity of the game. Do it for the sake of time disappearing and your energy disappearing and youth disappearing. Do it because you need to win, and winning really does matter in the end. Regardless of what people are after and their money and all that, they're going to be sitting somewhere with a bunch of money and a bunch of losses, and they ain't going to be fulfilled. I know how that looks. I've seen it already. So please, people, let's get wise. Let's get past all this quick, early, easy buck stuff. Let's get past all this politic ball. That stuff doesn't work in the long term anyway, man. it doesn't work in it. Even if you reach your target goal, it's just going to end up messing up in the back end because people lose love for stuff that's done this way. And that's what I also understand. So let's get back on track. The Bulls are a team that is going to come at you with athleticism. They got Derrick Jones Jr., they got Zach LaVine, they got, again, the Drummond and Vucevic guys, Pat Williams, who came off an extremely efficient game against the Clippers. I think he only missed two shots. We have got to respect the rest of the players on this team. Ayo Dosunmu was shooting us down in the last game. Kobe White is playing with a lot of confidence, laying the ball up and shooting threes from everywhere. We don't exactly match up very well with this team to begin with, to be honest with you. They attack us the same way the Clippers do, and we ain't beat the Clippers since they assembled that damn team. I don't think we've beat them once. So that's how they attack. Small forwards and shooting guards, power forwards that can all come at you, and then centers that are just big enough to make things very difficult for you and talented enough to make things difficult for you. And then you look at the bench players that they have, they're getting stuff out of their bench, and they're finding stuff, and they're leaning on it to work. AC, Alex Caruso, may not be available to this game for this game. I think he hurt himself in our game or the game before that. I don't know, but he played in ours, and I think he missed the Clipper game. He's questionable for this one. I think that's how that goes. Patrick Beverley's going to be on the floor. Obviously, he's extra motivated. He's at home now, Chicago, his hometown, and the game is in Chicago. So that you understand where all the confidence will be. And this is a team who's been on the road all this time, man. They've been on the road for the last week and a half in the Western Conference. Skating around. They ain't seen a red floor in a long time. So they're going to be happy to get back on their home court. And unfortunately, we're starting a 5-game road trip starting now, all of which we need to be winning, all of which we're going to be trying to reincorporate LeBron James back into the fold. I don't like that. He came off the bench in the last game. I didn't like that either. I like him being willing to, but I don't like what he does for our team psychologically and other teams who are kind of consider if the Lakers are going to be that serious of a team to defeat. Him coming off the bench speaks to something psychologically I just don't think plays it to our hands. So I'd like us to get away from that immediately. Get him starting again and just make rotations make sense around him. And so that's what I want to say. I think reincorporating LeBron James this go round has been more difficult than we thought, but it was only one game. So we still got a long way to go before we're certain of what we looked at there was going to be a problem. But I just don't think Ham's rotations for LeBron James really help us with the size of the rest of the roster. If you're sitting Rui Hachimura the entire game, then you've messed up. If you can't find a way to get Rui on the floor because you put Braun back on the floor, then you something wrong with you. So these are the type of things I'm just serious about. I'm like, look, if you move Braun to the 3 and Rui to the 3, as I've said a million times, you're going to find that your roster opens up so much with opportunities. You could put other players at the 4 that need to play the 4 in order for your roster to be able to function properly. So these are the things I've just been talking about. And I just hope that Darvin Ham hears these things and incorporates them into what it is he's looking at strategically, because there's not a whole lot of imagination down there. And I'm sick of seeing that. We need to have much more ball movement, player movement. Same stuff we used to talk about in regards to Frank Vogel. Now it's starting to apply to this situation here. We need more movement, more imagination, more options, more different looks. And we need them to have continuity just the same. So experimenting is a little tricky. But this is just what it is we would hope to have already had by now. A bunch of combinations that we understand, a bunch of stuff that works, etc. A bunch of stuff that we know doesn't work that we would never go back to. And it just seems like none of that stuff is in place. So that's why I don't really have that much faith in the team. It has nothing to do with the roster. That's to do with who's controlling it and how he's using it. He just ain't going to do right. And I know people are talking about, we ain't going to fire him at the end of this year. I'm like, look, I don't really know what makes sense in that regard, because I cut the ties quick. When I start giving up on something, I'm over with. But nevertheless, this is a rookie coach. I get it, but I'm telling you, man, this game, of course, everybody expected the Lakers to bounce back. The Chicago Bulls, they came off the loss to the Clippers, where the Clippers shot 50%, 20 out of 40 threes, which is amazing, 8 threes from Nick Batum. You want to consider that and say, yo, they are not a perfect team. You should be able to beat them as well. Look how bad they defended the perimeter, etc. But my thing is this team just doesn't match up well with us. And so if we're going to go out there thinking that they're going to be able to, the Lakers are just going to be able to push them around, we got to understand that that's not what it says on paper based on how we've been strategizing so long as we continue doing the same stuff. Now, if we want to get away from that, start experimenting with a little more length and stuff like that, maybe put some more lineups on the floor that don't involve LeBron James, trying to play the 4 and playing next to players that can, in theory, maybe hit shots, all that type of stupid crap that ain't do nothing for you. If we get away from that and match up properly, try a little Max Christie, Troy Brown, Wenyen Gabriel, Vanderbilt, AD combination type stuff. We put some real defensive talent on the floor. We will be able to stop the Chicago Bulls and make that game a lot more for us. Looking forward to seeing some bounce backs. D'Angelo Russell, if he's going to play tonight, he's questionable. We really want him to bounce back. He ain't been out there in 2 games. He's only had like 1 real good game since he got hurt with the ankle. And then before that, he had only played like 2 games. So we've had the majority of either absent D'Lo or average D'Lo at best. And it's just not been nothing that makes us want to feel great about re-signing him. He's going to have to step out and play well these last couple of games, help us win these playoffs, or we're going to be singing a different tune in regards to our free agency. It's just cut and dry, bro. We like him. We understand that a lot of people have been screaming, yo, he's not faking his injury and all. I don't think he's faking an injury. I never said that. I'm just saying if you got to determine what games are worth playing through injury, these are the ones. You know, people say if it was a playoff game I played, these are the games you need to be saying I play. So that's my thing. It's like I'm not seeing no urgency from the organization or him to get out here and fight for us. And guys who want a third of my cap, you better do that. Or you better come out and tell me it's something worse than a bone bruise, you know, or soreness. I better hear something else. But this, you got to give us some, I guess what I'm looking for is some explanation of what the hell the injury is. If this is an ongoing injury that just had since the Timberwolves, then I should know that. If this is something that's new and it's going to linger like Kendrick Nunn, because that's what this is starting to seem like, then he needs to get out of here quickly. We need to not resign him and not think twice about that because I don't want no injury issues on top of this core. That's my thing. If he was just the only injury-prone player, cool, we cool. But we gotta do this around AD and Bron. Every day he don't play makes me feel less and less confident that he's a player we should put around them two, period. So if we're going to be moving on from this core, then we cool. But if this is the dude that's going to be added to the core and this is how we're going to be dealing with every time he gets an injury, that's just not enough security and insurance for us, man. This is not. So I'm just going to be cutting dry while everybody else is thinking whatever they think in regards to this. I'm looking forward and I'm saying, okay, can I trust D'Lo to be healthy? When I'm trying to win my games at the end of the season and my guy is talking about I'm sore. I don't know. But the NBA has an issue with how players value winning these days. And, you know, health is important. But if your profession is to win and it's a must-win situation, then what the hell are we doing? What are we doing if you can't be here when we need you? So that's my thing. If his hip is as bad as they are saying that it is, then we need to be talking about that. And expressing to each and every Laker fan, just like you do with AD's injuries, what's going on. You know what I mean? We coddle some guys and we put pressure on others. And I'm like, look, I don't care for that. I just want guys on the floor if they can be healthy. And if they're not healthy, I want people to be honest with me about their injuries so I don't be up here talking like I'm doing right now. But either way, if it's only a bone hurt and he's only in pain, all that doesn't speak to anything in regards to what we're trying to do. We need guys to fight through these injuries, just like AD be doing. Just like Bron rushing back, we need guys to want it. And I don't really care for no soft stuff because if this is February, we could be soft. Let them sit for 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Let them sit for 4 weeks. But if we the end of the season, every game is a must win, or we could be out, not even make the playoffs, all this being for nothing. Man, I don't know. I don't know. So that's what I got to say about that. So yeah, man, this game here, man, we just, like I said, Chicago's finally coming home. They coming off a game where they were embarrassed. A game where they didn't, you know, necessarily have bad efficiency, but they just ran into a buzzsaw. And, you know, that's what it is. They're going to want to come back and get some success against the last team they had success against, which is us. Lucky enough for them, they're like, oh, at least we got to see the Lakers again. And they're in the fight for their playoff life. They got the Washington Wizards coming up strong behind them. They got the Toronto Raptors tied up right ahead of them. And these teams are winning. Washington beat Boston yesterday, so they got to keep winning. The urgency for Chicago to beat us is even more so important than it was when they did two games ago. So what we need to do, excuse me, is provide the intensity necessary to give them a proper matchup. And if we continue to put the same players in front of them we have, it's going to be a repeat performance. Salute to Kobe minute. So we coming into the house in Chicago, you know, house of Michael's house that Mike built. This is his place. We know what it is, but also it's AD's hometown. And I tell you, if this was my hometown, I only see them twice, and I didn't play well in the first game. I got out of the game with 5 fouls and only attempted 8 points. That is not what I was dreaming about when I was looking at them two games on the schedule, knowing that they were coming at the end of the season. If I'm Anthony Davis, I glanced at that schedule back in October, and I saw Chicago back-to-back, and I knew But those were games that I was going to be able to showcase my talent because this is my hometown. That's my people's. And so it's like, you show up and didn't really get the victory. We need the victory. You didn't show up well enough for us to get the victory. You got all kinds of foul trouble, all kinds of stuff like that. I would imagine Anthony Davis is going to want to bounce back. He's at home. This is his hometown. This is where he grew up. This is where all his roots is at. I can't see him coming in here and having another bad performance. I can't see it. So that's what I'm leaning on. I'm thinking this is a big Anthony Davis game, potentially. One way or another, whether it shows up stats-wise or we just get the victory because of his efforts. This is a night where I expect him to flex, and I expect for us to do things that have him in mind in regards to trying to have competitive edge. Rally around him for bulletin board material. Don't let this dude come into his house and let Pat Beverly, his hometown boy, get the victory tonight. No, we need to be the ones getting that. So that's where I'm at. I want us to be competitive. I want us to have that fire. At the end of the day, we've talked so much. I encourage everybody to go check out the Laker videos that I've had leading up to this game as well. We've talked about this game a lot because we knew we were playing them twice. And so, all the different information that I had in regards to Chicago Bulls in the first game, of course, all of that still applies. So I encourage everybody to go check that out. The pregame video for the last Bulls game and the postgame stuff as well, because we dug into this team, and we know that they're not going to be throwing a whole lot at us different. So that's what it is. AC is, like I said, he's questionable. Javonte Green, I think his name is he's questionable. And everybody else on that team is pretty much out there, man. We know Lonzo ain't coming back. So it's a lot of stuff that's just settled for the Bulls, and they have what it is that they expect to be running for the most part. And expect Vucevic to bounce back since he got kicked out of the first game against the Lakers. Nah, I don't think he's going to want that. He didn't have a plus-minus against the Clippers either, so I'm expecting him to bounce back at some point. So, yeah, man, I need Austin Reeves to kind of come back around. I know his length got, disrupted, and we didn't put the ball in his hands as much, so it was obviously harder for him to do the things that he does, driving at the rim and getting to the line repeatedly. If he don't have a ball in his hands, we're constantly getting the ball to LeBron James to toss it in the air and turn it over or whatever stupid crap we were doing. I want us to get back to stuff that works, man. Facts over feelings. If you want to win, you want to win, or do you want to win on your terms? That's what I say to LeBron. You want to win, or do you want to win because you won? Because if you want to win because you won, you're likely going to lose. But if you want to win because you want to lean on the team, you're probably going to get the victory. They're going to lead you all the way to your next ring, and you'll get all the credit anyway. But if you don't study Golden State in the finals last year, we keep doing the stuff that we're doing, trying to live all in the little, let's do it because of the lore, let's do it because of the money is attached to Bron and his legacy, so we must win. Believe me, his legacy going to be that he lost. His legacy going to be that he lost. Unless he wants to make the sacrifices. I think he's definitely ready to make the sacrifices. But are the people around him ready to make the sacrifices? Is Darvin Ham ready to make the sacrifices? Because Bron's ready to do what he needs to do. He told us, I'll come off the bench now. We just got to win. Okay, he's willing to come off the bench. That means you need to be using rotations he's not having. He's not a part of. To the betterment of your team, and those rotations need to work. See, that's what I'm talking about. If LeBron James is willing to sacrifice anything, we need to make sure that those sacrifices are not in vain. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. Don't have him out there with Malik Beasley the whole time. Put him down there with players that can actually help him. Put him down there with Austin Reeves. You know he has good synergy with him. Put him down there with Rui Hachimura. You know he has good synergy with him. These are the type of things I'm like, can we put Bron on the floor with players we know he ball out with? Put him down there with Anthony Davis. Put him down there with D'Angelo Russell. Put him down there with people we know he can play with, man. Because this type of crap is what the problem is. You put LeBron James down there, then you put non-defensive lineups around him. Then those lineups don't look too good. You ask him to pull you out of the nonsense. Stop this. He needs all the defensive help in the world and not as much offensive help. So can we put him in some defensive lineups, please? Put LeBron in defensive lineups. This type of stuff is like, can we stop allowing our players to look so bad out here, coach? You know what I'm saying? And so people don't keep on disrespecting you and disrespecting our players for not playing well. Malik Beasley has to hear this nonsense from Laker Nations because his kid birthday's coming up. He want to post something on Twitter, and he been shooting bad. Okay, everybody's mad at the fans for doing that. Everybody believes Malik Beasley doesn't deserve that. But everybody also knows Malik Beasley was also out there shooting poorly. That trickles down, coach. You can help his 4-year-old by not putting him out there for 30 minutes. See how that trickles together? It's real. Don't have him out there to be looking as bad, and he won't be getting, throwing bad energy at by these fans. It all trickles down, LA. And so we need to figure this out. Same thing with Anthony Davis. You put him down there with a bunch of stuff that don't work, hell yeah, people going to be mad at him because that's all they know how to do. But it ain't what's going on, and we know that. So let's put ourselves in a position to succeed. And if we don't succeed, understand it's going to be because this team ain't put no damn center on the floor. Do not be lost to that. Laker Nation, do not be lost to the idea of why We haven't been beating Chicago as of late. We didn't beat Chicago in the last game because we didn't have the size to go up against Andre Drummond when he was coming in here barreling into everybody after Vucevic went out. That's why. This team should have put a center on this team. We know it. Tony Bradley should be here. Tristan Thompson should be here. Nerlens, somebody, anybody should be here to play that center position. Vernon Carey, I don't care. We need a 10-day in here to help offset the Drummond factor. We don't have that player on the roster. So that's really what it comes down to. They're going to be able to attack us in that way. And we got to either be able to offset it with good offense and defense or not. But the bottom line is, once we get past Anthony Davis, we don't really have front court help like that. Wenyen Gabriel is going to play well, but if coach doesn't play him but 8 minutes like he did in the last game for his birthday, then we ain't going to be able to use the center like we need to. Type of stuff. Putting LeBron James on the floor must have Anthony Davis, so therefore Wenyen and Rui ain't down there. Wrong. That's your imagination failing you and us. Get it right. So my patience doesn't exist, man. I'm about tired of everything. I know everybody's saying, stop flip-flopping. You believe one day, the next day you don't. But that's what this team does. They believe one day, the next day they don't. They play well one day, next day they don't. They all over the place. So why does my opinion have to be consistent if the team ain't? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at what I see. This team ain't consistent. One day they show you they believe, the next day they show you they ain't got no clue as to how to defend, or that defending is the most important thing they should do. I'm tired of it. I believe in defense. I've watched defense win championships. I've watched offense fall short to defensive circumstances. Offense don't win championships. Offense earns money. And if that's your goal, then you're going to be a rich person with no wins. Really rich, real loser. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I'm tired of people prioritizing everything but winning, and then want people like me to get up here and be cool with losing. We don't have to win every game. Teams around us are losing. Yeah, they are. And we should not be. Damn it. We're the Lakers. They're to everybody else. And I know we're in a league where, but I don't care. That means the league itself needs to change. That's it. I don't care. I don't accept mediocrity just because everybody's mediocre. I don't care about that. Follow me. I'm excellent. That's how it has to be if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't care what everybody else is on. Did we care about what everybody else was on when Shaq and Kobe was down here and we taking championships? No. They didn't care what everybody else is on. If they're happy with losing, good. We're happy with them losing as well. That's how that has to be. I've always paid attention to the winner as the losers were patting themselves on the back for their effort. I'm always watching the winner watching them. What is the winner thinking of them feeling good about their low measurement nonsense as he destroyed them and they ostracize him a lot of times for being the one who's at the top? What is he thinking? He's thinking I'm going to beat them next time too. You know why? Because they're all happy with everything that I would never allow myself to. They're happy with stuff that allows them to be flawed in nature. And you know what I'm thinking about? How I can beat them again. While they're sitting back being friends because they lost, I'm here at the top with the victories. It's a lonely place at the top, but I tell you what, everybody wants to be there. They want to be there, but they don't know how to get there. So they don't have they don't have that heart that you got. They don't have that ability to be serious while everything is stressful. They want, oh, please help me, and all that crap. But they don't understand how important winning is and what that position is when you got somebody on your back trying to take it from you. Even if it's a fleet full of nonsensical clowns that are happy with losing, it's always that one dude that's coming after you. It's always that one dude sharpening his sword while everybody else is in the folly. You better pay attention to him in the corner. That's who I'm watching. So it's like, man, I'm a real winner, a competitor, and I'm trying to push that energy forward because it was instilled in me by winners, competitors. I'm not going to accept mediocrity because everybody around me is fine with being second best or third best or don't know what excellence is or forgotten the importance of excellence or don't even know what to do with excellence. These teams don't know what to do with the stuff I'm talking about. They're just like, we're okay, we got 50 wins. Yeah, that's successful. They ain't successful. They ain't successful. I saw a 72-win Warrior team lose a championship. They were a failure. You understand what I'm saying? 73, they were a failure. I don't want to hear nothing about regular season wins. When I got 6 championships to my belt as a fan, I know what winning is. I know what losing is. And this ain't no winning league right now. We got to turn it back to the respect for winning, clock management and principles, footwork and principles. We need principles. And it starts with this team. So that's my little spiel for this day. I'm not really interested in the X's and O's necessarily of this game. We just saw this team. We talked about all that. If they ain't going to do the stuff we already know needs to be done, we're going to have the same result. This is about effort, pride, and having the idea that you ain't going to fail just because you just did to the same team. You're going to come back in here and get your lick back. You can come back in here and respect the fact that this is Anthony Davis's hometown. He can't be losing this building. So that's what I got to say, man. Anthony Davis got to put forth that energy first. But if he don't have and he come out passive and everybody else follows suit, we're just going to have another loss. Then we got a hard Timberwolves team to see next in their house as we continue this road trip. So this is one of the more important games on the road trip, and we need to get it. So that's really all I accept. Hopefully the Lakers can overcome the three-point barrage and the athleticism that's coming at them by using things that will help them, like lengthy athletic lineups. But if they don't, hopefully LeBron James and Malik Beasley are hitting shots, or we're going to be getting shot down. That's it. That is all, LA. So I run out of time. I've been trying to clear up space on my phone. I've been failing to. So I'm run out of time. That's the video for the day. Hopefully you guys know that LA is a must-win team right now. We got to win everything. This is in a situation where we can afford to lose any single game. I don't care what everybody's talking about in regards to being accepting of others losing around you. That doesn't have to happen, and you don't have to be in the playoffs if you continue that. We must win this game. So that's what I got to say, LA. Good luck. I'll have something for you at the end of the game. The game starts at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern, I believe. Somewhere around there, maybe 5:30, something like that. Be there, 5. And you will see the LA Lakers fight for their playoff lives. Hopefully with some urgency. Hopefully with respect for the length and size that's on the floor and athleticism of all these shooting guards and power forwards, small forwards that they can score with. And understanding at the end of the day, Bron is back, AD is back. So that gives us the cushion of a core that should be able to beat anybody. We just got to use the surrounding pieces properly for what it is that we're actually looking at. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.